everyone, it's Hannah Adams, Miss Cover Bridge 2022, and today we are back with another episode of Always and Forever. Our guest today is Chandler Shields, who is a graduate from the University of Alabama with a bachelor's degree in public relations, specializing in nonprofit communication management. In 2020, Chandler obtained her master's in public policy from Liberty University. She began her career on Capitol Hill as a staff assistant in the office of Senator Lindsey Graham in September 2017. In April 2018, Chandler moved to the office of Senator Richard Shelby, who is right here from Alabama, as the assistant to the chief of staff, and she continued to advance to other positions throughout her time in the office. In February 2022, Chandler transitioned to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America to serve in the Resource Development and Government Relations Department. At BGCA, Chandler oversees external communications among the Board of Governors, manages projects for their government relations advocacy efforts on Capitol Hill, and works alongside BGCA's Chief Development and Public Affairs Officer to effectively message the organization's strategic priorities to best serve BGCA's 4,100 local clubs. Chandler also leads Alabama's Committee on Taste of the South on its annual fundraising efforts for Southern charities, in which Alabama is the 2022 featured state for the first time in 26 years. Chandler and her family are such dear friends of mine, and I'm so excited for you all to hear about her time in the Miss Alabama organization and all that she's up to now.
Oh, well, thank you, Hannah, so much for having me. This is it's such a sweet opportunity to be able to chat with you today.
I'm so excited. So can you share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what got you involved in the Miss Alabama organization?
Yeah, so I am from outside of Huntsville in a town called Monrovia. And really, actually, I will throw this back to whenever I first heard about the Miss Alabama organization. I was picking out a prom dress over at Cherry Tree Lane in Florence. And Sammy Ackridge, who then later on was on my board for Miss Tennessee Valley, he came up to me and my mom and he said, "Have you ever thought about considered competing in Miss Alabama?" And I was like, "Oh, well, one, I'm flattered. Two, no, I did not know really that anybody could compete." And so that was really what introduced me to the organization as a whole, was someone approaching me and believing in me that I had that potential. And that's one of my favorite things about the organization, that everyone is like that. And so that's how I got involved. And then it just evolved over time. I competed 2015 to 2017, and right before I moved up to DC. So a lot of scholarship money, was really great to finish out my college years at the University of Alabama. But yeah, it was a really great experience, and a lot of what I learned during my time at Miss Alabama, I would say definitely I still keep up and utilize today.
That's incredible. So what local titles did you have during the years that you competed?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Miss Tennessee Valley, my home area, which was really special. It was a great way to close out my time in the organization. And then in 2016, I was Miss Cahaba Valley. So that was my first title. And just getting my feet wet, I really competed that first year. First and second year, I competed in any open competition that I could possibly go to, just to get that experience. And so getting to represent the Birmingham area while I was based in Tuscaloosa as a college student, that was really great. With Victoria Sims, she was a wonderful lead there, and I learned a lot from her in preparing for my first year at Miss Alabama.
Oh, those directors are absolutely amazing. They make such an impact on our lives. I mean, they're so selfless, and they do it not to get paid or for recognition. They do it to serve the girls competing.
You're so right. The hours of time that they put into this organization, they deserve all the recognition for all of what we do on stage, right?
100%. What is one of your favorite memories from competing for Miss Alabama, and what was your favorite phase of competition while competing?
My favorite phase of competition, I think my first, on stage, one of my favorite phases of competition is probably swimsuit, because it was one of those things that I had never done before. And I'm like, okay, well, I am as I am. Like, I can be as confident as I want. I mean, who I am. I mean, everybody's seeing it. But really it was the mental confidence that I really enjoyed. And it kind of put me into this out of body experience where I'm like, oh my goodness, I really am strutting my stuff on the stage. But it doesn't matter your body type, how tall you are, how skinny you are, any of those things. It's how confident you are in the person that you were created to be. And that was just a very freeing experience for me. But then also leading up to swimsuit competitions and such, it really opened my eyes into how to live in a healthy way and how to actually adopt those things and making it a lifestyle. I mean, truly the lifestyle and fitness, that used to be the title of the swimsuit competition. And that truly has impacted my life today. And I feel like I'm much healthier now than I ever was when I was competing in Miss Alabama, only because I had more time to make those 2 years of competition into a lifestyle. Since, I mean, now it's 2022. Oh my gosh. And I first competed in 2015. So it's just over time, I've become more confident in myself and more aware of how what I put in my body is fuel. And that really is the output that I produce and that I get to represent physically. But then I'd say I also really loved the interview competition or interview portion, just because so much of what I learned at Miss Alabama, I really did that in politics, not necessarily aiming to convince someone to change their opinions, but just to voice your own opinions in an eloquent way, in a way that you can hope to maintain respect from those around you, no matter what their point of view is. And as many people have seen over the past few years, the world of politics has been a little intense. And so just knowing that not everyone in Miss Alabama world, not everyone in the audience will agree with what you say during your onstage question, that's fine. But when you're in an interview and you're really trying to portray to the judges, this is who I represent, this is who I am, that's your time to really, have them buy into what you're trying to share. And I feel like knowing that, but then also knowing when you're on the stage and you are potentially going to represent the entire state of Alabama, you have to be mindful of other people's opinions and values and where they come from. And those skills are definitely, I've definitely utilized that in my time in DC. So.
That's wonderful to hear. And that's one thing about the Miss Alabama program is that you learn so many skills that you can't learn anywhere else. Where else are you going to learn about how to be mentally and physically healthy, while also learning how to be respectful and kind towards other people's opinions, and being able to also voice your own in a way that everyone can respect. That's so important.
You're so right.
What is your best piece of competition advice, especially for all the girls who may be listening who are competing in 2 weeks for Miss Alabama?
Yeah. One, I'd say just truly and genuinely be the best version of yourself. To all the girls who are about to compete, you have prepared the best you possibly can. And the person that you are on move-in day will be the person that you are when you compete. So don't put that added pressure. Enjoy the week. And continue to make all the friendships that you've made over the year in competing with people. I think that those are the best memories. The time just with the girls, because you're truly experiencing all the same thing. It's just a beautiful experience to share with other female leaders, and so why not enjoy it? Build each other up, and I think that's just a word of advice in the professional world too. You have such an opportunity to encourage your fellow females and you want them to succeed. And this whole tearing people down just because there's no point in that. It makes such a better and more fruitful experience to encourage your friends. And it is a mentally challenging week. So I just, be the best version of yourself, because I guess everyone says this, but the other versions are taken. Anybody else who you're trying to emulate. So yeah, just enjoy it because you worked so hard to get where you are.
Such good advice. So how have you seen the skills you learned competing translate over into your professional life? I know you touched on that, but can you go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah, so I mentioned the political world and how interview and just being able to think on my feet, but then also to respect other people's opinions, how that really has played in. But even the platform of service element of Miss Alabama, that was something that really interested me when I first heard about the program. And now as you mentioned earlier, I'm with Boys and Girls Clubs of America based in DC. And while that was not necessarily my platform of service, my platform was serving the special needs community. I also, during college, really sophomore year of high school onward, I tutored at my Boys and Girls Clubs and in North Alabama and then in West Alabama at the Tuscaloosa location. And so it's always just been something that has been very special to me and part of my life. And um, so now getting to actually live that out and where I get to work for an organization that I'm very passionate about, it makes the job just not even feel really like a job. I guess that's how a lot of Miss Alabama, candidates or the actual Miss Alabama feels like this isn't even a job. This is just the opportunity of a lifetime. And that is often how I feel. Something that is coming up soon, which it's happening in July. I very full circle moment, but I get to be on a panel with a lot of there will be a lot of club youth advocates coming up to Washington, DC to lobby their congressmen and to learn about how to get Capitol Hill internships and to see Washington, DC as a whole. I'm like, this cannot get any more perfect. This is so like, this is right up my alley. And so it's moments like that where, people say, oh, you don't have to work your day job doesn't have to be your passion project, but maybe it can be. You can start your own nonprofit. You can find a nonprofit that you're passionate about and work for them or have some other idea of public service, which is what also drew me to Capitol Hill in my previous role. The idea of getting to serve my state and setting all the negative politics aside, but getting to serve your state and be a representative of your region it truly is like reflective of the Miss Alabama organization. Like you represent your people and you get to perform well for them on the Miss Alabama stage. And it's just, it really is like, I feel like I'm very blessed and where I am now is something that I just am truly passionate about. And I don't really know what I was expecting in adulthood, but it has been just a dream come true.
That's so special. And you're absolutely killing it in all those roles, serving such people. What has been one of the most impactful moments that you've had in DC? And then also, what are some of your future career goals?
Yeah, I think so. I was really grateful to have wonderful intern coordinators when I was in college and wanting to move up here. And Hannah, I've told you this before, just whenever we connected last summer in DC, but there were so many people who, of course, went before me. I guess now I'm not considered as much of a young person anymore, but when I was an intern and they always wanted to help out. And so now I get to be that older girl, more or less. And so that's what I wanted to do when I was in Senator Shelby's office, be that outlet, be not always the shoulder to cry on if anyone needed anything, but it is stressful. It is stressful to move from your hometown in Alabama or wherever it may be to come to Washington, DC. But I really have been poured into, and I want to return that to any young person who comes to DC. And so it's been really rewarding to see some of my former interns when I was in Shelby's office who then got hired and I got to work alongside them, and then to see them get promoted and branch out and go do different things. It's so much fun to be able to celebrate those victories of my colleagues who were then, former interns or just younger people around the city. That has been just awesome to see because I know that someone helped me along the way years ago. And I know that I guess that's more of like a personal victory, but it's just so much fun to see other people's success. And I guess that kind of goes into what I was saying earlier. And it really is wonderful at the Miss Alabama organization to celebrate all the preliminary winners and to see, oh my gosh, she has worked so hard for this. That is awesome that she's finally being recognized. And that's just kind of how I feel about this city, because there are a lot of, I'd say, Miss Alabama type people who really want to go above and beyond and make a difference and make an impact. And so it's just fun to see everyone succeed in their own little way.
I love that. And you've been such a mentor to me, as a woman who's inspiring to work in politics, seeing you and everything that you've accomplished is really inspiring, and how you've been able to make such an impact in DC and come back and even serve Alabama in some capacities too. How can people keep up with you and all the exciting things that you're doing on social media?
Yeah, so I have my personal handle, Channy Chan. And then I'd say LinkedIn would be great too, because then that would also kind of jumpstart. If you're not already on LinkedIn, I would highly recommend as a young professional. That's a great way to get plugged in and find those internships. But again, if anyone is ever in DC and wants some recommendations, I'm happy to help. That's one of my favorite things to do when people come to visit, because the city, there's so much to see. It can be a little daunting, but to know that there are people who are, from the hometown or from the state that will take care of you. I'd be more than happy to be a resource in that way. So.
Chandler is the best DC tour guide. I went and visited December and we got to catch up, but she was like, Hannah, go to this church, go to this restaurant, see these monuments. It was so helpful. And also she can tell you where there's actual sweet tea. So that's nice too.
Correct. Correct.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing about your journey in Miss Alabama and beyond. Your friendship truly means the world to me. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and stay tuned for more episodes on Always and Forever.
Thanks so much, Hannah.